Morning. What a fucking day a difference makes. Was that right? Yes, what a fucking day a difference makes. Yeah, yesterday sucked. I don't know what it was. My mood did shift eventually, which was awesome. I did post about all of the things that I did to help facilitate that change, but I woke up this morning like I had woken up on whatever Monday morning before the clips, normal, like in a decent mood, good, happy, whatever, motivated. I don't know what happened yesterday, but I did get a lot of messages from you guys about my post about the microdosing of mushrooms. Like, was I tripping all day? That made it different. No, I was not tripping. I was microdosing, and there is a difference. For me, how I microdose, I have pills that are psilocybin that are also combined with different adaptogenic mushrooms like, reishi, whatever. There's like a lot of things that are put into these pills, but they are microdosed out. So they're 200 milligrams. If I want to trip, I could take 3 or 4 of them and start feeling some things. But I don't typically do that unless just for fun. But I started taking, I microdosed mushrooms probably 3 years ago, I think I started. So medication wise, I try not to take any medication unless it's absolutely necessary. And I also, that includes like painkillers, Tylenol, Advil, all that stuff. I don't typically ever take that. So the only thing I do is I sometimes take medicine to help me sleep. That's prescribed to me because I do have poor sleeping habits and sometimes I need that. But medication wise, I tend to not take anything. And I have twice in my life been on antidepressants. And both those times, each time, I think one was a 6-month stint and one was like an 8-month stint maybe. And both those times I felt so not me. Like it just, it felt like I just didn't really have empathy anymore, and I had a really low sex drive during that time and also not typically me. It just like changed a lot of things about me that I kind of loved, and it did make me feel better. So I get why antidepressants work for people. Like, this is not me saying get off your medication, like do what works for you. It didn't feel good for me. Like it felt like mentally I felt good, but like I felt like a good version of myself that wasn't me. So anyways, a few years ago when I was going through a depressive bout, my therapist was like, if you're not going to take antidepressants and this is how you've been consistently feeling now for a couple months, you need to do something. So around that time, obviously like physical exercise, all that stuff helps with mental health. I was doing all the things, but it still wasn't working. So she was like, why don't you try microdosing mushrooms and see how that goes? And I did. And I did it for, I don't know, maybe a month, 6 weeks. And it felt great. And it changed it just changed. And I got out of the depressive bout and I stopped taking them. And but I still obviously keep them on hand for cases where I need it. And yesterday was a day that I needed some mushrooms because I don't know what the fuck was happening, but it was so crazy to go to bed happy and to wake up the opposite of happy. Like it wasn't even miserable. It was just like, what's the point of life today is how I felt, honestly. I was just like, I don't want to do anything. What's the point of all of this? So microdosing mushrooms, it definitely works for me. I'm not telling you what to do. And I have a lot of friends that it works for also. It helps me I feel focused. It makes me feel more creative. Like it just kind of gets the juices flowing. So that's why I take mushrooms sometimes and I love it. And I don't know why there's like a stigma against plant medicine, because I think if it comes from the frickin' earth and it's helpful, why do we hate on it? It makes no sense in my brain, So the same way that I would eat vegetables to make my body feel healthy physically, I take mushrooms sometimes to make my mind feel better mentally. Like all in the same category in my book. So anyways, that's to answer your questions about the microdosing of mushrooms. I know other people do it differently. Some people just eat mushrooms, but mine is dosed out. Have a good one.